Like, this little side is so empty. I'm like, I'm glad Joanna's here.
We have one scholar in person for the National Merit Scholars.
That's fine.
He doesn't feel comfortable coming up, so if you just want to read the script, have
Okay.
Stacy read it and then the resolution.
That works for me. I'm glad that they asked. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order. Yo, folks. We're going to get this meeting started. I'm going to ask folks to pause their conversations or take them to a space where a meeting's not happening. We'll start by reciting our vision statement. Every school will be a thriving school that prepares every student to graduate from high school, college, career, and community ready. We have a resolution recognizing our merit scholars this evening. Whereas the mission of the National Merit Scholarship Whereas the mission of the National Merit Scholarship Corporation, NMSC, is to recognize and honor academically talented students around the United States by conducting nationwide academic scholarship programs. Whereas these students have worked hard in the classroom, they've challenged themselves academically, and many participate in athletics, extracurriculars, internships around the community, all in addition to their achievement in being scholars here tonight. Whereas the 32 Madison Metropolitan School District scholars who have been announced as National Merit Scholar semifinalists, these scholars represent the top 1% of students in the nation for academic performance on the 2021 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education recognizes and congratulates these 32 students for being recognized as National Merit Scholarship semifinalists. Be it further resolved, this statement be permanently imprinted in the Board of Education minutes for the meeting of November 21st, 2022. Give a round of applause to our merit scholars. Like we're now going to hear from our public comment, and we'll start with the folks who are joining us this evening online.
Our public commenter online is Shannon Stevens.
Hi, everybody. First of all, apologies. I'm homesick tonight, but I thought since you were meeting, you weren't going to hold up the show for me, so I would do it virtually. My name is Shannon Stevens, and I am a MMSD school social worker. I have been for 20 years. I currently work at the Transition Education Program. I hope you've all had the opportunity to check out our ribbon display on the Dayton Street there in front of the Doyle Building. It's a pretty amazing thing. Each one of the near 700 ribbons represents one of our students in MMSD who's experiencing homelessness this school year between K4 and 12th grade. Please, I'm asking that you would consider adding our students in as a data point during each of your meetings to remember that they also matter and that their education matters as well. Second thing I'd like to address is asking support to please answer and support the MMSD Student Services staff in addressing the salary inequities that we have come to find as being pretty wild. There's some pretty crazy salary and inequities out there between people who are starting brand new, which is an amazing thing because we need new people, but also those who have started just a couple of years ago who are being paid less than the new people who are being hired. That's not the way MMSD runs, and they should really take a look at that. Please, I would ask that you consider that. We're asking for an explanatory meeting and some problem solving or resolution to this issue. And the third thing I wanted to address is speaking in support of Dr. Copeland returning. Um, I did so a couple months ago, and it's taken a long time for it to come before everybody, but I wanted to make sure that MMSD understands and that we all understands that we don't need people who make excuses. We need leaders who are strong leaders, who are advocates for their students, for their staff. Speaking plainly is not a crime, but sometimes in Madison, we can take things and turn it into a crime. We shouldn't make excuses. We should apologize when necessary. That's humanity, not making excuses. I don't have anything to gain by speaking at, I don't work at Senate, but I can say that they do want Dr. Copeland back. They want their time. The school year, they've been working really hard to keep everything in place that they started at the start of the school year, but it's getting to the point they want resolution. They would like Dr. Copeland back, and they need resolution for the coming school year. As a person, I spoke with Dr. Copeland a number of times when I was there subbing, which I do 2 days a week. And in that time, I found that he was a plain speaker. He didn't mince words, and he was respectful. He deserves resolution as well. There's no reason that the board cannot make this happen. And I'm asking, along with Senate staff, that he please be reinstated as the principal at Senate Middle School. Thank you.
Tonight, we would like to recognize the 32 Madison Metropolitan School District scholars who have been announced as National Merit Scholarship finalists. These scholars represent the top 1% of students in the nation for academic performance on the 2021 preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. And we have and we'll have an opportunity to continue in the competition for the next, for some 7,250 National Merit Scholarships worth nearly $28 million that will be offered next spring. Good luck to each of you. Now we'd like to congratulate each of these scholars who studied, prepared, and worked so hard to attain this remarkable achievement. For those scholars who are in attendance this evening, please come up to the stage. I think there's just one tonight. But what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just name them off, all the scholars. So if you want to come up.
Tonight, we only have one scholar in attendance with us, but he's choosing to come on the December 19th date to be honored with the rest of his classmates. However, I want to honor all of the scholars who have earned this phenomenal accomplishment. At Memorial High School, we have Emily Kai, Shane Duggan, Ryan Forbes, Julia Mockert, Sanjay Palta-Hill, Tyler Steinmetz, Catherine Sun, Lucas Walitz, Elliot Wykes, Amy Yo, and Laura Joe. At La Follette, we have Alex Biota. And at West, we have Liv Beglin, Annalise Alvine, Charlotte Chen, Madeline Dean, Caitlin Dew, Kaylee Geo Hagan, Ria Katie Reddy, Caitlin Coe, Julia Lee, Tim Lee, Abel Liang, Carita Marino, William Noguera, Nina Pabellon, Gabriella Shell, Kevin Song, Sarah Thompson, Barnabas Valco, Joshua Wang, and Ethan Yu. Congratulations to all of these scholars. Additionally, there is a video on the MMSD website that highlights their accomplishments. Thank you.
We will return to public comment with the folks who are here in person. We're going to start with Eric D. Gordon. Check to see if it's on. Roll it up. Push the little button. The button here.
Oh, there it goes. Thank you. My name is Eric Gordon. I am president of Dayton Street Productions, and I'm a Holocaust educator. According to 2021 Wisconsin Act 30 and Senate Bill 69, requiring the Holocaust be taught in grades 5 through 8 and 9 through 12, public and private schools. Me as president, I put together Dayton Street Productions, a USB thumb drive, which includes all this information I'm going to give you, very simple to use for the teachers in the schools. Editorial by Dave Zwiefel. He's the Capital Times and the State Journal guy in charge. Public television audio interview. I split it because one is audio, one is the view. Some of the pictures are horrific. So the kids can show it to them or you don't have to show it to them. The audio CDs from the book, Wisconsin Historical Society interview, about 5 hours. Presentation of my dad giving to a classroom live, 55 minutes. Public television again for the video point of it. The original manuscript was originally written in Yiddish. It took forever to get it translated into English. That is donated to the museum in Holocaust Memorial in Washington, D.C. University of Kentucky is the book publisher and is giving discount to the schools that want to buy the book 20%. They directly deal with the University of Kentucky Press. What I've put together is the thumb drive. It's got everything on it. It's got times that I put together. So if it's 3 minutes for this object, 5 minutes for this one, the teachers can see and know what to put together at their convenience. And it is part of the Holocaust education. I want to show you the items so that you can see what I've been trying to do. This is the original book. I took the original book and made it into an audio CD. So you can listen to whatever you decide you want to listen to. And I took all the information and I put it on this thumb drive for the schools to use it in their education program.
Eric, thank you for joining us. Your
Just
time is
one,
up.
I know my time is up, but one little thing here. I'm sorry. Steven Spielberg, he came out and did an interview with my dad. It's on this right here. I am working with him right now, so hopefully I can put it on this item right here. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Mika Oredo.
Good evening. My name is Mika Oriedo. I am here to speak again to support Dr. Jeffrey Copeland and hopefully his return to Senate Middle School. I'm here on behalf of my wife, Anna, 20-plus year teacher at Senate Middle School, my son, Mika, 8th grader at Senate Middle School, my daughter, Omina, 6th grader at Senate Middle School, and myself, a product of Senate Middle School and a teacher there for over 20 years as well. I was here 6-7 weeks ago. My determination has not changed. My ideas have not changed about the reinstatement of Dr. Copeland. I support him 100%. Dr. Copeland, as you heard then, came to Senate at a time when we needed change and we needed something bad, because for us as teachers, for a lot of students, for a lot of in the community, it was bad. And in a short amount of time, he gave us something we needed, and that was hope. He gave us determination to make Senate number one. That was his cry. Senate Middle School is number one. That was his desire. That's our desire as educators, as parents, as staff, as students and people who go to Senate. So you have it within your power to make this right. For the last 8 weeks, we've been rudderless. We've had 2 wonderful people as interim co-principals come and go part-time. There's an old adage, when you have 2 part-time, you don't really have 1. We need a leader. We need Dr. Copeland back. We need our principal. Thank you.
Thank you. Rigoberto Gallegos.
Good evening. I do not want to take too much of your time, but I wanted to add my voice to those of our Senate staff that have already spoken before you and shared their anger and concern over what's happening at Senate. I am here to ask you to reinstate Dr. Copeland to his rightful position as Senate's principal. My name is Rigoberto Gallegos, and I work as an 8th grade dual language immersion teacher and have worked in MMSD since moving here from Georgia in 2006. I joined the Senate staff in 2016 after working at Nuestro Mundo for 10 years. I will reiterate my colleagues' statements about what a difference we had at the beginning of the school year. It was, to use a cliche, a difference between night and day. There were clear expectations for students and staff, and there was a feeling that Senate was a safe place and a place for learning. There was hope for an amazing school year. That alone should be enough reason to bring him back. But let me tell you about another important reason why I am here to support Dr. Copeland. As I mentioned, I arrived at Senate in 2016, not very long ago. But in those years, I now find myself the only remaining dual language immersion teacher in our program from that year. Okay, all the other staff members have moved on or did not meet their emergency license requirements. Working with an emergency license is not easy. Not only do you have to work a new full-time job, take coursework, but you do that on top of your daily family life responsibility. That, and you must pay for most of your new license as well. Not many people can do that for an extended time. This, however, is where my admiration for Dr. Copeland grew. Having staff shortages at Senate, I expected MMSD admin would hire just someone to fill these classes, even though they weren't fully qualified. But Dr. Copeland decided to do something different. He put the needs of the students first. He made the decision to place someone that was qualified in front of the students. He did that, though it impacted the official jobs of these staff members. Dr. Copeland put the needs of students first. He did not just fill the position to check it off his to-do list. He decided that he would rather wait until we had qualified people to work with our students. I was impressed. It seems that from comments made from HR and MMSD that the question also of how he referred to language was an issue. I listened to the recordings, and all I heard from what Dr. Copeland said was he was not happy with how this would work for our students. His concern was about communication not about race, ethnicity, or national origin. We have 2 excellent staff members working in our dual language program that are from Columbia, and they are qualified. That is what we need at Senate. I say again that we have needed this kind of change at Senate for years, and it was taken away abruptly from our Senate community 69 days ago. I didn't even get a chance to tell Dr. Copeland that I had moved here from Atlanta as well. You have a vision statement that says every school will be a thriving school that prepares every student to graduate from high school, college, and be career ready. Dr. Copeland started us on that direction, and we were excited with how that journey started. Bring back Dr. Copeland so we can continue that journey and provide our students with just that, a thriving Senate middle school. Thank you.
Karen, I'm gonna apologize in advance for how I pronounce your last name. Harris? Herrera? Okay, I'm sorry. That's an name.
Good evening, board members, both Senate people, community members. My name is Karen Herrera. I'm currently a substitute teacher, long-term sub at Lakeview Elementary. I taught for over 32 years in the district. I've lived in Madison since 1980, my husband and I raised our daughter here who attended the schools. I've seen some pretty wonderful leadership in this district throughout the years, but I've also seen some pretty poor decisions being made. And speaking as a member of the community, I question how we got to this place. How did we get here? Firing a capable man who was leading his school in such a wonderful direction. Everyone, the whole community seemed pretty happy with what was going on. What we did now is we put that whole community on hold over malicious racism, which I'm kind of confused where the malicious racism came from. I don't understand where the district, what they mean by this when they say this was his intent. I too listened to the recording. I also spoke with Dr. Copeland. I met him once. He's a person that speaks his mind like most of us do as an educator. We say what we really feel and believe, and those words matter. I think that he went in there with very good intentions. It probably wasn't the direction that the district wanted or MMSD, but it was definitely leading them in the right direction. They were successful. And so now you pulled the principal away, the leadership away, and there's this void and things fall apart. We all know that. You cannot throw in subs and think that it's going to be okay. We're under-resourced in our schools. We need more adults. We need leadership. Sometimes thinking out of the box is the best thing we can do. Because right now, the path that we're on hasn't been working. I have been disappointed in the direction of our district for a few years now. It's embarrassing to talk about it and to see what's been going on. So I hope that you reinstate Dr. Copeland, that you make a wise decision here, put this man, this capable man back in a position, and also his credibility now. We've had principals that walked away quietly that have done worse things in this district, and this man has been dragged through the mud from where I'm sitting. And we need to do better. We really need to do better and bring this man back, put him back at Senate where he belongs. Thank you.
Marlene Patino.
Ms. Patiño.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Marlene Patiño y he sido maestra en CENET por aproximadamente 8 años. Actualmente me desempeño como maestra de ciencias en español.
Good evening. My name is Marlene Patiño. I am a teacher at Senate. I've been a teacher at Senate for 8 years. and currently I'm a teacher of science in Spanish.
Ya que es público el motivo de la terminación del Dr. Copeland, debo decir que como persona latina y que habla inglés como segundo idioma, cuando utilizamos los medios tecnológicos para comunicarnos, se pueden malinterpretar las circunstancias, las expresiones y también las emisiones.
Now that we understand, now that we understand the motive for Dr. Copeland's removal, I want to say as a person, a Latina person that speaks English as a second language, I want to say that when we utilize technology to communicate, many times you can misinterpret the circumstances, the expression, and how it's emoted.
Sin embargo, como docente, cuando tuve la oportunidad de interlocutar con el rector Copeland, puedo decir que siempre mostró respeto e interés hacia mí, hacia mi cultura y la de mis estudiantes. También pude observarlo hacer lo mismo con mis compañeros de trabajo.
As an educator, when I've had the opportunity to speak and interact with Dr. Copeland, I can say that he's always had respect for me and my interests, as well as my culture, my culture and that of my students, and that he's also had that for my fellow educators in the work.
Segundo punto, entendemos que es natural que las personas no estén en su mejor momento el 100% del tiempo, por lo que es primordial que se les otorgue su derecho a la defensa, la contradicción, como garantías primordiales del debido proceso.
We understand that it's natural for people to not always be their best 100% of the time. And with that, it is important to allow people to defend themselves and have the right to due process and explain themselves.
Antes de tomar una decisión que no solo afecta a una persona, sino a toda una comunidad estudiantil.
Before making the decision that not only affects one person, but that it affects a whole community, academic community in school.
Durante el tiempo que se desempeñó como rector, lo hizo no solo muy bien, sino de una manera excelente. Es sin duda un gran ejemplo de excelencia negra para nuestra comunidad estudiantil.
During his time as principal, he not only did a great job, and he not only did a great job and an excellent job, but he was also a great example of what it means to be Black, Black excellent means in our school.
Finalmente, me gustaría decir que deseo que el doctor Copeland sea reinstalado en el ejercicio de sus funciones como director de Zenit Miro. Además, pienso que esto debe de servirnos a todos, a todo el distrito, como un momento de enseñanza, ya que de la misma manera que hablamos de racismo, debemos hablar de lenguaje, no son lo mismo, y capacitar a todo el personal para hacerlo de la mejor manera. Pienso que hay mucho trabajo por hacer en cuanto al lenguaje, pero el despido de director no va a ayudar. Gracias.
Finally, I would like to ask for Dr. Copeland's reinstatement, and also that this is an opportunity for us to learn as a district. It's a moment for learning where we can talk about the difference between when we speak about racism, but also the difference between racism and the impact of language and racism, and to do our very best, to do this in our very best. Thank you. Okay. There's still a lot of work to do, but it definitely is not, but definitely letting him go is not the way to go. Thank you.
Carmen Ames. Carmen Ames.
So my name is Carmen Ames. I'm a teacher at Senate Middle School. And again, I've been in the district for 30 years. I'm here to speak on behalf of Dr. Copeland. I don't know what else I could say that everybody else has not already said besides that we need the hope back in our school. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I know that your word is used a lot and it has been used a lot today, but it's hard to teach kids that don't have hope. And our kids had hope with Dr. Copeland. I saw it the way that they behaved in class. I saw it in their discussions that they had in classrooms. I heard it in the hallways. That hope is missing right now. Dr. Copeland brought us hope. We need that back. Please reinstate it.
Our last speaker this evening is Alfonso Flores.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Alfonso Flores.
Good evening. My name is Alfonso Flores.
El motivo del que estoy aquí es para preguntar qué es lo que están haciendo para la seguridad de nuestras escuelas.
The reason I'm here speaking today is about what is happening with the security in our schools.
Ya que el pasado 14 de noviembre, un joven y mi hija fueron agredidos dentro de la escuela.
14th of November, a student and my daughter were both badly hurt in school.
Pregunto esto porque los profesores, el equipo de la escuela sabían que iba a suceder esto y nadie hizo nada.
I ask because the folks at school, the staff, the principals knew about this and did nothing.
Le pregunté esto al subdirector y lo que me contestó es que ellos no podían llamar a la policía en ese momento, que tenía que pasar eso para que después los padres puedan llamar a la policía.
I spoke with an assistant principal and they explained to me they could not call the police at that time, that they had to wait for the incident to happen before they could call, for the families to call.
Entonces, esto es preocupante para mí y supongo que para muchos otros padres de familia, porque estamos nosotros confiados en que nuestros hijos están seguros en nuestras escuelas y resulta que nos llaman que ya les pasó algo.
This is worrisome to myself and others in our school community that we have to wait to get calls from our students that they've been hurt.
Lastimosamente esto pasó en la escuela de La Follette. Yo ahí estudió mi hijo y ahorita está mi hija. No quisiera sacarla de ahí, pero sí es preocupante y me gustaría que tomaran cartas en el asunto.
This happened at La Follette High School where my son was a student there and now my daughter is. And this happened there and I am not wishing to remove her from there, but I would like to know what will be happening.
Esto no lo hago por mi hija nada más, sino por todos los estudiantes que van a estudiar. Todos van para ser mejores personas, son el futuro de este país.
I'm not only doing this for my daughter, but also all of the students there that have a right to learn. Because they're the future of this country.
Gracias, esperamos ver resultados de su parte.
Thank you, and I look forward to hearing what's going to be done.
Gracias.
In addition to the public comment that happened in person and online this evening, we also have 8 written statements. Summarized, all 8 of those statements support the reinstatement of Dr. Copeland to Senate Middle School. I move that the Board of Education approve the minutes from the regular meeting dated October 31st, 2022.
Second.
Discussion, Board Member Vandermeulen. So I'll ask Attorney Terrell Webb to speak to clarification around that, unless HR wants to speak to clarification around that.
The minutes are what's noticed, not the content of the minutes. So I believe Dr. McGregory does have the questions at hand and is preparing a response.
Thank you so much. Further discussion of the minutes? All right, all those in favor, or I'm sorry, Joanna, your advisory vote?
Yes, I do. This is okay.
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-1. I'm sorry, 5-1. News from around the district.
Celebrating our students, the Board of Education would like to recognize the MMSD scholars who supported a fair democratic process by serving as election volunteers. About 50 high school students from across our district learned about the voting process firsthand and worked at voting locations across Madison. 8th grade students at Whitehorse Middle School participated in their own Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day on November 14 to honor the civil rights icon. In 1960, 6 years after Brown versus the Board of Education had passed, the then 6-year-old Ruby was the first African-American child to attend an all-white segregated school in New Orleans, Louisiana. She was escorted to school by federal marshals and endured racism and harassment, not only in school, but as she walked to school. Scholars at Whitehorse learned about school desegregation and the civil rights history as part of the culturally relevant lesson.
Thank you, Maya. Supporting our families, the district's transition education program, TEP, works to support students and families experiencing homelessness. Homelessness is often hidden, is experienced in many ways. In recognition of National Homelessness Awareness Month, in front of the Doyle Building on Dayton Street is a display of ribbons. Each ribbon represents a student identified as experiencing homelessness so far this year. More than 665 Madison Metropolitan School District students. Unfortunately, this number may continue to rise through the end of the school year, increasing to more than 1,000 students. Thank you, TEP staff, for providing resources and support to our families, children, and youth, as well as bringing awareness to homelessness in our community.
Celebrating our staff, November 7th through the 11th was National School Psychology Week. Both school psychologists empower children and youth to grow in areas such as social skills, empathy, and compassion for others, as well as problem solving, goal setting, and academic skills. Thank you to our MMSD school psychologists. November 14th through the 18th was American Education Week, a nationally observed time to recognize all those who work in the education field. The Board of Education would like to thank our dedicated teachers, staff, volunteers, and all who support MMSD scholars in public education. Finally, please join us in extending sincere congratulations to Capitol High's Larry Palm on being awarded the 2022 to 2023 Secretarial Support Award from the Wisconsin School Counselor Association. This award recognizes school staff who support and enhance the work of school counselors. Congratulations, Larry.
We'll now hear from our superintendent, Dr. Carlton Jenkins.
Hello, Chair Moldrup and all the other board members in our community. I would just like to say, first of all, thank you for those recognitions that you just read off there. Speaking as this is the month for National Youth Experiencing Homelessness. And likewise, I'd like to also thank you for recognizing our outstanding staff. And we had some cultural celebrations too this month as we've recognized our Indigenous family members as well. Today, I hope that everybody had an opportunity to see the letter that I sent out in regards to all the things that's going on, not just locally, but nationally. I think recently, as we think about what happened in Colorado Springs, there pretty serious situation. That's accumulation of a number of things that's happening that's just totally against what we stand for in our district when we say we see all of our students and we stand with all of our students. And just what happened to our LGBT QIA community was pretty sad. The things that's going on right now that we see continued violence just happening across the nation, senseless violence. We see what's happening in some of our communities that's supposed to be, in so many words, safe, but no community is safe. I'd say what we're seeing, the bullying taking place against ableism and things of this nature is just really saddened us. And what's happening across the country right now with middle schools as they're returning back to in person, we still want to continue to focus on the social emotional, the mental health, well-being of everyone. So I say those things as I know that each day, out of every 10,000 people, 10,000 individuals, we have 17 that begins to experience homelessness. You heard those numbers you just read off, 650 plus by the end of the year, 1,000 will experience in our own districts. Our children will experience homelessness. So I just say we have all those things. And I ask that everybody, as we begin to get ready to break here and you're with your loved ones, think about others too, and they may not be in the same space. And just keep them in your thoughts. Because as you may enjoy some of those things that we consider sometimes to be normal, everybody's not doing that. So please keep that in mind. And I am very pleased that we're getting ready to recognize now with these next two three items. We have, first of all, our students who just received the National Merit semifinalists, and that is phenomenal. That's like your academic all-Americans. They are the best of the best, okay? And then we also have our students with Miss Carolyn Stanford Taylor, who's coming up, the student leadership, and I definitely wouldn't take away that thunder because they were phenomenal. And please tell Maddie, Miss Carolyn Stanford Taylor, I said she's just a star amongst stars, okay? So having said that, we'll go with our two videos and just to just give you a reminder of what's going on around the district too, okay? And then Miss Carolyn Stanford Taylor. Thank you.
They came up with brilliant topics and descriptions for the topics. They got excited about it. They told peers, and it just jettisoned from there.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Today was really important for us to have this Multicultural Summit Student Union to hear how students are feeling about each culture and just getting together to be like a one big family.
Something that's also really heavily celebrated.
The summit, I would just say amazing. I'm so glad that I got a chance to speak on the panel because like all these years, like I feel like I've spoken before but not really been heard.
It was just this whole excitement around them being the leaders in this and actually feeling like people heard their voice.
Just what do you think is the biggest challenge in recruiting and retaining specifically classroom teachers, seeing as according to the HR reports from the district in the last 5 years, Black staff in the district has gone up by 17%, while Black teachers specifically have only gone up by 1%.
I went 10 years in this district without having a teacher of color, and I have never had an Asian teacher. And so we just wanted to really get into why that is, what challenges our district is facing, as well as what educators in general are facing.
Just really amazing to be here and to learn so much from some really accomplished and some really intelligent people.
These students in that space operated as a district. It was not just La Follette, West, East, Memorial, Capitol, Shabazz. They were all one.
I loved everybody's energy. Everybody looked like they were into each section they went to.
The work I do now, I hope will impact future generations.
Being both Mexican and Chinese, living in Wisconsin in the Midwest, it's brought a lot of issues concerning identity, like too Chinese to be Mexican, too Mexican to be Chinese, and too foreign to be American. But coming here, I really got to see that it doesn't really matter. Like that doesn't really matter, and that I have a place here regardless of who I am.
What I've learned is how all the MMS schools can come together without a lot of conflict. We can build something beautiful that a lot of people can't say that they've had the opportunity to do, but so I'm so happy that our district has made this available for us to do and get connected with each other.
I learned that everybody has an opinion, everybody can see everything completely different, but at the same time we all have the same end goal, and that's to make our future better, and it starts with us.
To get there and see them not miss a beat. They knew what their roles were, they were engaged in it, they got others engaged, and they pulled it off like professionals. I was so proud of them.
I want to thank the planning committee because this was all youth leadership, youth-led. For you, by you.
And Ms. Stanford Taylor, thank you again personally for all that you did with our students and all that you're doing. And so I definitely wouldn't steal your thunder now on the video.
Thank you so much. I think the students are the thunder, right? That's a great example of the brilliance and creativity and the leadership that we have in this district. Our kids were amazing from beginning to end. Initially, when we thought about coming up with this leadership conference and knowing that there was one that already existed. 365 does a Wisconsin Leadership Summit, which they bring Black and Brown professionals into a space. And our students in the past have had an opportunity to be in that space with them. But we wanted to create something a little bit different for them in that they would define their own tracks. So basically they created their own summit. And when we initially farmed this idea out, as I said in the video, they latched on and it just jettisoned. It was their voices, their leadership. We didn't define the tracks for them. They did that all themselves. They came up with there were 9 student planners from all the different high schools, comprehensive high schools. They came up with the different tracks. They invited all of the panelists to be there. They moderated each one of the sectionals. They got there early, made sure they set up, they greeted kids, they did the registration. So they were on point every minute of that day, but in every way leading up to that point. We found out we had entrepreneurs in the group. One of the young ladies actually designed the t-shirt that everyone had on. Everyone got an opportunity to shine. And I saw so many examples of students who were hungry to have their voices out there. You know, oftentimes we tell them, we want your voice, we want you to be decision makers, we want, and then we kind of limit them. So initially when we started this, they kind of created their own box because they couldn't believe we were going to let them run with this. So we created the space, the adults left the room, left the students in to plan, and voila, what you witnessed is what they came up with. And I just want to give you a sample of some of the topics that they came up with. Very creative ways to engage their peers, to get them to think about some of these things that are top of the mind for them. We often talk about social, emotional, mental wellness. That's the top of mind for them too. So those were topics they wanted to explore. Restorative justice. They wanted to know about finance, how to make money, how to keep money, how to grow money. They also wanted to know about each other. And so they created a panel of their peers to come in and talk a little bit about what does it mean in your custom and your experience. Let's talk about your foods, how we're different and how we're similar. And so the description of it, I thought, was very creative on their parts. In terms of, this is us. We are, all of us make up MMSD. So let's find out about each other. Let's figure out how we appreciate each other, how we bring our strengths into the room. And you heard the one young lady said she was so happy to be on that panel, to be able to express herself. You heard another young man who talked about he was too this to be that and too this to be accepted into this space. But he found himself. He found that space. He found others that he could relate to. And the big thing that happened through all of this, because we had students from every school helping to plan this, is they recognized that they're all MMSD. And we all as youth have the same goal. So now what they want to do is to create a space where their voices can come together, not from West, East, La Follette, but as a school district, as MMSD students, and create something more for themselves. So I want to thank all of the adults who helped to make this happen, our multicultural services coordinators, the people at Madison 365, Henry Sanders and Stephanie Diaz de Leon, and all of our MSCs, everyone who had a hand in it. Thank you, Nichelle, for being willing to be one of the panelists. We didn't do it, our students did it. They decided who they wanted for every topic. Thank you, Dr. Jenkins, for being there and lending your support. Thank you all to all of you board members for just supporting us financially and as we move forward with these ideas to help show leadership and create leadership opportunities for our kids. So we were so excited to do it. Thank you to my team, Ms. Grace, Adam Clausen, Janice Chestnut, Kathy Kublet, all of those folks who had a hand in making this very successful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stanford Taylor. Thank you to all of the board members because you really supported. And this is one of those things we talked about leadership. We continue to talk about leadership. Ms. Stanford Taylor took this along with the students, and I have to continue to say Maddie, because Maddie from West High, who's also Philippine, talked about being Filipino in the room, not just Asian, had an opportunity to express herself Philippine. And the student talked about being Chinese, you know, as well as having just the mixed race and having to explain that. So just thank you, and thank you to everyone for this. This was one of the big deals for us this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Dr. Jenkins. I'm sorry, we have one more video.
All right.
I didn't say half of what I wrote down. I didn't want to get into too many thank yous.
Miss,
Ms. Stafford Taylor, you still muted. Okay.
you're unmuted.
What I love most about Cherokee Middle School, so many things, so little time.
My favorite part of school is the teachers because they make us feel comfortable here. They treat us good, kindly, and caringly.
It's the best school ever. I love it. I feel so comfortable in this school.
I really like the sense of community here. There's a lot of different people here. There's a lot of different students, and it just feels like a lot of different mix of everyone here. It's not just like one specific group of people, you know?
Tell me what you like most about school.
Stairs, math, Miss K, my teachers, my friend I just ran down the hall.
My name is Roberto Moreno. I am the principal at Cherokee Heights, the best school in Madison.
Hello, my name is Alma, and I work at Cherokee Heights Middle School, and I've been here for 6 years.
My name is Dave Perry, and I'm the Phi Ed teacher at Cherokee Heights.
My name is Jacqueline Shares. I am a reading teacher at Cherokee Heights Middle School. I love the students. They come in, they work hard, they're engaged, they're curious, they're eager.
They make everyone feel welcome.
Also, the faculty really cares about the kids, and the administration really cares about the faculty.
And I like to help the students that whenever they come to the office and they need anything, I always try to help them the best as I can.
The staff, ever since I've been here, they do a lot for these kids, and I just love being a part of the family like this.
What's the best part of working here?
Yeah.
I mean, the kids, they make me smile every day, for sure.
I like it because there's so many of my friends who come from my elementary school, and we make bigger friend-like circles, and it's just a great community overall.
The best part of Cherokee Heights Middle School is that they're really open and teachers always help you fix your problems no matter what.
Work with great teachers who don't see obstacles, they just see things that need to get done, and we do it.
What have you learned here?
Acceptance and treating each other how they should be treated.
My students have taught me that you can do anything if you try. I'm getting choked up. They just, some of them have what seems to be unsurmountable obstacles, and they overcome them.
We are MMSD. We are MMSD.
We are MMSD for life.
We are MMSD.
We are MMSD. We are MMSD.
We are MMSD. It's a great school.
I can't even believe they pay me to do this.
Aquí todos somos MMSD.
That's going to conclude my remarks there, Chair Moldrew and other members of the board and the community. And just thank you for giving us this much time tonight just to showcase some of our wonderful things and people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jenkins, for a very uplifting update from our superintendent. We're now going to look at reports on items that proceeded through the instruction work group held on November 7th, 2022. Board Member Castro.
Thank you. Yeah, on November 7th, we held our instruction work group. We continued with our health services update, received an update on the implementation and expansion of full day 4K, received an update on our options to graduation and the impact that our investments in the budget are making. And then finally, we had an update on data on restraint and seclusion in the district and the middle school by literacy adoption timeline. Our next meeting will be December 5th, 2022, where we will have a health services update, an update on the K-5 literacy adoption curriculum, as well as enrollment projections and a dive onto class sizes.
Thank you, Board Member Castro. We'll now hear an update on action items that a report on items that proceeded through the operation work group held on November 14th, 2022. Board Member Gomez-Schmidt.
Thank you. We had 3 items that we discussed on November 14th. The first was the employee handbook and the items that will be discussed going forward for 23-24 between MTI and the district, and that will be coming back to us in January for an update. We also heard an update and some scenario planning around the board's 2019 resolution to get our district to 100% renewable energy as our goal. And so that will be coming back to us with more information once there is a little bit more planning by administration around those scenarios, and we have some more information. We also received an update on school safety. Our next meeting, we do not have a meeting for December, and the next meeting will be January 23rd. And possible agenda items for that, we'll get our first look at the 2023-24 budget development process. So jumping right back into the budget, we will get an update on the RFP for transportation. We will get an update on partnerships. The employee handbook will be coming back to us, and we will hopefully have a slate of policies to also review.
All right. It's an all-night meeting in January. All right. There are no action items that proceeded through the instruction work group held on November 7th, 2022. There are no action items that proceeded through the operation work group held on November 14th, 2022. I move that the Board of Education adopt and approve all of the motions set forth in the September 10th of the electronic agenda prepared for the November 21st, 2022 regular school board meeting, exactly as said motions are written. By voting affirmatively on this motion, a board member expresses his, her, or their affirmative vote on each of the motions consolidated hereby, subject to any express separation that have been made by any member of the school board. Second, Board Member Castro.
I'd like to separate 10.12.
All right, separating 10.12. Any further separations?
10.11.
10.11, Board Member Gomez-Schmidt. Any further separations? Okay. Yeah. All right. Joanna, your advisory vote.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you, Johanna. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion carries 6-0. I move that the Board of Education approve the expenditures for the renovation of 7333 Westtown Way for MSCR West with Joe Daniels Construction in the amount of $2,890,000 and Iconica Inc. for design and engineering services in the amount of $165,000 with the $300,000 donation from Capital West Town LLC. The project will total $2,755,000. I'll second. Any discussion? Board Member Gomez-Schmidt.
Yes, thank you. I just pulled this to get a little bit of clarification, knowing how important the renovation of this space is for a lot of other moving parts that we have going on with the referendum construction. And we received or approved a consent memo in August for this construction. This is an updated, it looks like because we've gone through the planning process, it is actually saving us money in the actual build out. And so I'm just looking for clarification on what exactly this does, given there were a couple of other pieces that were included in the previous memo, and if those are also included in this one.
Good evening, Svetlin Borisov with Building Services. So how we arrived at this project is we were planning to use Iconica as the design builder for this project. However, Iconica team could not deliver us the required bonding for the construction piece of the project. So we went to the second bidder and obtained an updated bid based on the executed design. And in that regard, this is actually saving the school district a few $100,000.
And will it move on the same timeline if we're switching the actual construction?
Working with the vendors that will be supporting us in this project to define the timeline, and I believe that after the holiday we will be putting heads together with everybody on the table and drawing a new project's timeline. But it will be pretty close to the original timeline. We just lost a few months in trying to deliver the project with the existing vendor, which finally it turned out that it's not feasible because they couldn't deliver the bonds.
So do you know like final timeline when the space will be ready? Or
We're currently reviewing that. We don't have that set in stone, but we are already working with everybody who is involved in this project on getting together and creating a solid timeline so that we can notify the community of when the space will be available for programming.
And then my last question is there were some other pieces that were included in the previous memo in August for Huffman, I think for management, and for Forrester for the moving. Are those still included? And this is just
however, we want to narrow down and shutting down the contingency. So we are including a smaller percentage for contingency. We believe that the current budget will be sufficient to deliver the project.
okay. So we're not approving the contingency that was in the other one. Now that we're past the design phase, we're kind of set.
Correct. When we're doing design build projects, it has a lot of uncertainty. It is a shorter timeline, but there's more variabilities. As you can see, the bids from the first time around were significantly lower this time around because we already have completed design, which removes some of the uncertainty around the project and what is the scope.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Any further discussion? Johanna, your advisory vote.
Yeah, I approve.
Thank you, Johanna. All those in favor, aye. Motion carries 6-0. I move that the Board of Education accept a donation in the amount of $50,000 from American Family Foundation to support Madison Metropolitan School District's Early Literacy Initiative.
Second.
Any discussion? Board Member Castro.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight this particular donation, especially because American Family has been a huge and very beneficial partner to the district, having participated in some of their partnership programs like Brotherhood at East High School. They consistently support high impact partnerships and initiatives and goals of the district. And this particular investment through a $50,000 grant for reading in our full day 4K and the ECE classrooms will make a huge difference, especially as it is play-based as well. So I just wanted to thank American Family and everyone who worked on this project.
Board Member Castro, I share your appreciation for this gift to our district. I also want to thank Dr. Jenkins for really inspiring our entire community to invest in early literacy. I think that you've been able to champion this work in a way that brings folks in, and it has inspired the generosity of our community. So thank you, Board Member Castro, for highlighting this support. And I share your appreciation for American Family Foundation and their gift to MMSD. Any further discussion? Joanna, your advisory vote.
Yeah, I approve.
All those in favor? Motion carries 6-0. On to other reports. I'm sorry? I don't believe so, but okay. Okay. No worries. I was equally surprised that we were that short.
Yeah.
But moving on, we're going to jump over to the City of Madison Education Committee, Board Member Nichols.
Yes, we were not able to hold our meeting on November 9th. So we are going to take the same agenda items that we had for that meeting and move them to our December 14th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Nichols. Student Senate, Johanna?
So at Student Senate, we had a meeting held on November 2nd, 2022. So we had a BOE report where I told the students what's going on in the board at this board. We had a recruitment discussion to get like more students involved at Student Senate. We had an icebreaker, then we talked about voting. On the meeting that was held on the 16th this month, I reshared a BOE report. We also talked about school-based health centers. We're going to have some guest speakers there, I believe, at our next meeting. We did an icebreaker. We also talked about recruitment and how we can make Student Senate less intimidating for students so everybody can feel comfortable to join. And then we also talked about a potential meeting change date. So we're probably going to have our next meeting November 30th and December 14th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanna. Madison School Community Recreation MSCR Advisory Committee, Board Member Vandermeulen.
Yes, thank you. We did not meet, so we have no minutes, but our next meeting is on the 21st of December. And we will have a lot to talk about, plus we'll have our silent auction.
Thank you so much for that update, Board Member Vandermeulen. Citizens Ad Hoc Committee to rename Jefferson Middle School. Do I have notes here? Okay.
Good evening, Board Member Chair Muldrow and board members. The Citizens Ad Hoc Committee for renaming Jefferson Middle School met on Tuesday, November 8th. The meeting agenda is available via board docs and the meeting was streamed on YouTube. Present committee members unanimously approved the minutes from October 25th, reviewed the agenda items 3, and submitted public comment, and 4, external research conducted on the proposed names. Gail Martinson, the external researcher, clarified information in several proposals. The proper pronunciation, Eston Jefferson, which she confirmed with the Thomas Jefferson Foundation, as well as Eston Hemmings Jefferson's preferred name of E.H. Jefferson, which she confirmed with an academic researcher. The committee voted and unanimously approved eliminating from consideration Proposal 17, Eston Hemmings Jefferson, keeping Proposal 17 of the same name. The committee voted and unanimously approved removing proposals with an average of score of 2.99 and below. Proposals removed included numbers 23, 12, 3, 30, 33, 20, and 18. The proposals still under consideration are available to review at the Jefferson Renaming webpage. The committee's next meeting will be November 22nd, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you so much for all of your work, Dr. Hicks. Safety and Student Wellness Ad Hoc Committee, Board Member Pearson.
Thank you. We met on November 10th and we talked about updating our group outreach. And at our operations work group meeting, I mentioned that our survey went out. So students and staff should have gotten, and families should have gotten the survey about safety and wellness. So please make sure you complete them because that will inform our future meetings. We also talked about community partners in advocate stakeholder groups and the outreach that we'll be doing in person at the schools, and with parents. And then also, hopefully, we'll try to get the board recommendations to us, hopefully by the end of this year, hopefully. Our next meeting is December 1st.
Thank you, Board Vice President Pearson. The policy committee, and I'm sorry, I can't tell from the note if I am directing this at Board Member Gomez-Schmidt, Board Member Castro, or at our general counsel.
Board Member Castro, are you good if I do the update? Or would you like
Yep,
to do it?
go ahead.
We didn't meet in November, so we did receive an update, or the board received an update in November in one of the weekly updates regarding the work that has started with Neola, conducting an initial review of MMSD policies, and then we'll have more information once that initial review is done. And that will inform the revision of our policy on policies, or our proposed policy. The policy is needing annual review by the board that we still have to address this school year. 4502 Code of Conduct, 4510 Anti-Bullying, and 8012 Prohibition Against Discrimination. And those aren't ones that necessarily need revision, but we are required to review them. Policies in the queue for the board to address include 2615 Public Records, the 8012 Prohibition Against Discrimination, 8012A Sexual Harassment, 8013 Workplace Bullying, 6244 Procurement, and 5000 Construction and Repair of Buildings, Contracts, and Bids.
Board Member Gomez-Schmidt, between you and Board Member Castro, who are both serving on that committee, are you planning to embed those policies that we need to review in our work groups, or what's the process you two are engaging in to get those in front of the board?
I think that's how we've done it in the past. Board Member Castro, if you have any comments on that, but I think that's how we intend to continue to work as a transition plan until we have this more broader policy approach that we're going to take with the help of Neola Consulting. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
we had an update and that Neola will be conducting interviews with us, and then we'll go with the process from there.
Thank you, Board Member Castro, and thank you, Board Member Gomez-Schmidt, and thank you, General Counsel, for all the work you've done on our policy committee. We'll hear from Board Governance Committee, and I'm going to turn that over to Board Member Nichols.
Yes, the Board Governance Committee has not met since our October 21st board retreat. We will be meeting again later in November or early December to resume our conversations about board governance. And we'll just note that from our October 21st board retreat, we heard that board members expressed interest in learning more about the impact of adopting a governance core model, specifically how this has worked in other districts who have been using it and what actual impact it had. So that is the conversation and the research we will continue to take up. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Nichols. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Joanna, your advisory vote.
Yeah, I approve.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Have a nice night, everybody.